Manipulators don't need time to study you. That is the first illusion you must destroy. People believe exploitation happens slowly. They think manipulators observe, analyze, gather data. That is comforting and completely false. In less than 10 seconds, they already know who you are. Before your story, before your values, before your intentions. They already know how far they can push you, how much disrespect you'll tolerate, whether you'll resist or comply, whether you deserve respect or extraction. And the most dangerous part, they don't decide consciously. Their nervous system decides for them. This is not manipulation. This is instinct. You know, weak people are not chosen. They are detected. Here is the truth most people cannot accept. Weak people are not hunted by accident. They signal themselves, not with words, not with intelligence, not with credentials. They signal themselves through micro-behaviors the conscious mind ignores, but the predatory mind never misses. A posture held for half a second too long, a smile that appears too quickly, a sentence rushed as if asking permission to exist. Power is read before it is proven. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He didn't say, "Prove your power and you will be respected." He warned, if power is not perceived immediately, it will be challenged, and challengers do not come politely. They come to take. The 10-second judgment rule. The human brain evolved under threat. Long before language, morality, or law, survival depended on one question. Is this being dangerous or usable? That question still runs in the background of every interaction. When a manipulator meets you, their brain does not ask, is this person kind? Is this person fair? Is this person educated? It asks something colder. Can I cross this person without consequences? And the answer forms almost instantly. Research in evolutionary psychology confirms this. Dominance, submission, threat, and compliance are processed faster than conscious thought, which means something terrifying. By the time you speak, you've already been categorized. Your body language that betrays you, before words. Let's be brutal. Manipulators don't need you to confess weakness. Your body does it for you. Collapsed posture, head slightly forward, shoulders turned inward. This is not relaxed. This is submissive geometry. In ancient hierarchies, this posture meant one thing, non-threat. Eye contact that breaks too early, or worse, eye contact that overcompensates, searching for approval, hands that fidget, feet that shift before the conversation ends. These are not nerves. They are signals of low internal authority. Napoleon Bonaparte understood this deeply. When generals met him, he watched how they entered the room, not what they said. Those who walked cautiously were never trusted with power. Those who stood still, calm, contained, even in silence, were elevated. Stillness communicates dominance. Movement communicates uncertainty. Manipulators know this instinctively. Even if you control your posture, your voice may betray you. Rushed speech, upward inflection at the end of statements, excessive politeness, apologies that were never required. Sorry to bother you. Just a quick question. I might be wrong, but every one of these phrases communicates the same message. I do not see myself as a threat. Manipulators hear this like blood in water, not because they are evil, but because they are efficient. A calm, grounded voice with controlled pacing triggers caution. A fast, emotionally loaded voice triggers opportunity. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are quicker to offend one who inspires affection than one who inspires fear." Fear here does not mean aggression. It means uncertainty combined with consequence. That's your behavioral tells that mark you instantly. But posture and voice are only the surface. The deeper signals come from behavior, over-explaining, defending yourself when no accusation was made, offering justifications nobody asked for. This is the language of inner weakness, because strong individuals assume legitimacy. Weak individuals attempt to earn it. People-pleasing is not kindness. It is preemptive surrender. Quick trust is not openness. It is poor threat assessment. Emotional transparency is not authenticity. It is strategic exposure. And manipulators are trained, consciously or not, to notice this. They don't need your secrets. They just need to know you'll give them eventually. The fatal desire of being liked. This is where most people are destroyed. The need to be liked. Approval-seeking behavior is the strongest weakness signal of all. Why? Because it announces, your reaction controls me. The moment someone realizes their approval matters to you, power shifts. You become adjustable, negotiable, trainable. History repeats this pattern relentlessly. Roman senators who sought popularity. Now comes the most uncomfortable realization. The ideal target is not stupid, not weak physically, not unsuccessful. The ideal target is empathetic, morally rigid, conflict avoidant, emotionally expressive, hungry for fairness. In other words, the good person. Why? Because goodness without boundaries becomes predictability. Predictability becomes control. Manipulators don't break strong people. They harvest compliant ones. And compliance often wears the mask of virtue. Let this burn into your mind. Manipulators don't create weakness. They recognize it. They don't turn you into a victim. They identify whether you already are one, psychologically. That is why arguing with manipulators fails, explaining fails, appealing to morality fails, because the decision was made before the conversation began. Without knowing it, manipulators scan for emotional control, reaction, speed, boundary, strength, self-perception, tolerance for discomfort. They are not evil geniuses. They are efficient survivors, and survival rewards clarity. Here is the final truth. If weakness can be detected in 10 seconds, then strength must be projected instantly, not through aggression, not through arrogance, but through calm, controlled presence. Power is quiet. Power is slow. Power does not rush to explain itself. And once you understand this, you stop asking why manipulators target you. You start asking, what am I signaling without realizing it? That question marks the end of innocence and the beginning of power. Weakness is not punished by society. It is punished by human nature. This is the lie most people are raised with. Be good, and you will be respected. Be fair, and people will treat you fairly. Be kind, and the world will reward you. These ideas are not innocent. They are dangerous, because they prepare you for a world that does not exist. In the real world, respect is not given to those who deserve it. It is given to those who can enforce it. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Respect has nothing to do with goodness. It never has. History does not remember the kind. It remembers the commanding. Machiavelli observed this clearly. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, meaning perception outweighs intention. A man may be honest, loyal, and fair, but if he appears harmless, he will be ignored, bypassed, or exploited. Respect is not an emotional response. It is a risk calculation. People subconsciously ask, what happens if I cross this person? If the answer is nothing, respect collapses. Modern society pretends hierarchy no longer exists. That is fantasy. Hierarchy never disappeared. It just became psychological. In ancient tribes, dominance was physical. In empires, it was military. Today, it is emotional and perceptual. But the sorting mechanism is the same. Every social group unconsciously divides people into leaders, equals, tools. No one announces this classification, but everyone behaves according to it. And weakness places you in the lowest tier instantly, not because people hate you, but because humans are wired to move toward power and away from instability. Nothing exposes weakness faster than emotion, anger, defensiveness, over-explaining, visible hurt. Emotion is information, and manipulators collect it eagerly. When you react emotionally, you reveal what triggers you, what controls you, where pressure works. This is why manipulators provoke first. They test your reactions before they test your limits. A calm person with boundaries is dangerous. An emotional person is programmable. Machiavelli warned rulers, "He who is the cause of another becoming powerful ruins himself." Emotional reactions empower others by handing them leverage. Modern culture worships authenticity. Be real. Be open. Express yourself. This advice sounds noble, but it is strategically suicidal. Unfiltered authenticity removes mystery. Mystery removes leverage. When people know exactly how you feel, what you value, and where you stand, they can predict you. They can manipulate you. They can bypass you. Powerful individuals are not fake. They are selective. They reveal only what strengthens their position. Machiavelli never advised lying constantly. He advised controlled revelation. Many people sense they lack power, so they imitate confidence. They speak louder. They posture harder. They exaggerate certainty. This backfires because fake confidence invites challenge. Real power does not seek dominance. It assumes it. Confident men attract attention. Grounded men create hesitation. The difference is subtle, and everything depends on it. Manipulators are not impressed by confidence. They are impressed by non-reactivity. Manipulators rarely attack directly. They test. A small disrespect disguised as a joke. A boundary nudge framed as a favor. A time request meant to see if you comply. These are not accidents. They are probes. If you laugh it off, weakness logged. If you explain, weakness confirmed. If you comply, weakness rewarded with escalation. Every ignored boundary teaches people how to treat you. And manipulators learn fast. Why weakness feels safe. But actually isn't many people choose weakness unconsciously because it feels safe. Conflict avoidance, compliance, emotional openness. But safety without respect is fragile. Because the moment resources, stress, or power enter the equation, the nice are bypassed. The fair are exploited. The understanding are drained. Weakness does not protect you from harm. It invites it quietly. Let this sink deeper. Manipulators don't create weakness. They respond to it. They don't force dominance. They accept the permission you give unconsciously. Here is the law no one teaches. People treat you based on the consequences they associate with you. Not your intentions, not your values, not your struggles. Consequences. And consequences begin with perception. This is not meant to make you bitter. It is meant to make you precise. The moment you stop asking, "Why don't they respect me?" and start asking, "What consequences do I represent?" everything changes. Weakness is not removed by morality. It is removed by structure, and structure begins internally. Now you know how weakness is detected. You know why it repels respect. The final step is transformation, not into an aggressor, not into a tyrant, but into someone who is unreadable, emotionally contained, psychologically expensive. Because manipulators don't attack strength. They avoid it, and that is where mastery begins. Power is not loud. Power is not dramatic. Power does not rush to be understood. Power becomes invisible before it becomes absolute. By now, you understand something most people never will. Weakness is not about lack of strength. It is about leakage, emotional leakage, behavioral leakage, psychological leakage. This chapter is about sealing every crack. Approval is the first chain that must be broken. The need to be liked turns you into a mirror. You reflect what others want to see, and mirrors have no power. The moment you need approval, you surrender authority. Approval seeking forces you to adjust your tone, soften your stance, explain yourself, and tolerate disrespect. Manipulators feel this instantly. That is why the first transformation is internal. You must become comfortable with being misunderstood. Respected people are not universally liked. They are consistently firm. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must accept being hated if it preserves power. Modern translation: if your decisions require permission, you are not in control. Emotion is not weakness. Uncontrolled emotion is. When your face reacts before your mind, you expose leverage. When your tone changes under pressure, you hand over control. Neutrality creates ambiguity. Ambiguity creates caution. Caution creates respect. A neutral expression is not emptiness. It is containment. Strong individuals respond slowly. They pause. They assess. They speak last. Manipulators rely on speed, fast reactions, fast guilt, fast compliance. Neutrality starves them. Weak people talk to be understood. Strong people talk to be effective. Every unnecessary word increases exposure. Every explanation reduces authority. Silence is not absence. Silence is dominance without effort. Machiavelli advised leaders to reveal intention only when unavoidable. Why? Because clarity gives others something to work against. When people cannot read you, they cannot predict you. When they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. You do not owe clarity to everyone. You owe control to yourself. Strategic ambiguity means answering without revealing, responding without committing, acknowledging without agreeing. It is not deception. It is defensive intelligence. Manipulators hunt certainty. They need fixed positions to apply pressure. Ambiguity denies them grip. Boundaries are not statements. They are behaviors. Weak boundaries are explained. Strong boundaries are enforced silently. No does not require justification. Distance does not require apology. Withdrawal does not require explanation. Every explanation invites negotiation. Powerful individuals do not negotiate their boundaries. They act and allow others to adjust. Manipulators attack what is cheap. Cheap access, cheap reactions, cheap compliance. To become untouchable, you must increase cost, limited availability, controlled responses, delayed access. Scarcity creates value. When your time, attention, and emotional energy are no longer freely available, people behave differently, not because you demand respect, because they calculate it. Aggression attracts challenge. Calm creates hesitation. The most intimidating presence in a room is not the loudest voice. It is the person who is unaffected. Unaffected by provocation, unaffected by disrespect, unaffected by chaos. Calm signals power already secured. Manipulators avoid uncertainty. Calm people are unpredictable. At this stage, something shifts. You are no longer scanned as prey. You are evaluated as risk, not because you intimidate, but because you cannot be controlled easily. Manipulators do not attack resistance. They search for efficiency. Strength is inefficient to exploit, and that is why it is avoided. Let this anchor permanently. Manipulators don't create weakness. They recognize it. When weakness disappears from your signals, they lose interest. Not out of respect, out of survival instinct. This is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming precise. You do not need to dominate others. You only need to become unreadable, unreactive, and expensive, because power does not announce itself. It is felt, and then left alone. That is mastery. Weak people try to be understood. Strong people let others wonder. And manipulators, they move on.